let's talk about pelvic floor muscle relaxation. Pelvic floor muscle relaxation, or normalized resting level, is really important for the health of this part of the body. Now, that being said, it can be a really difficult thing to have awareness for or to do. Now, let's talk about if we don't have good relaxation or use of this part of the body, what can happen. So let's use my arm as an example. If I walked around with my arm like this all day long, it would start to have problems. It would start to have pain. I wouldn't get good blood flow into this part of the body. The waste wouldn't go out of my cells in a very good way. And after a while, I would probably not only have arm pain, it would turn into shoulder pain and neck pain from overuse or compensation of those other parts of my body as well. That's just one thing. You can also have difficulty strengthening this part of the body. Do you ever feel like you're not getting a good pelvic floor muscle activation, or you're having trouble figuring out how it is to utilize those muscles for contraction and relaxation? That can happen if those muscles are already all at the top. So going back to my arm example, if this is how I hold my arm all day long, and then I try to strengthen it, it's not gonna get very much stronger. There's a reason why we don't do arm curls like this, right? We need to fully relax a muscle and contract it repeatedly over time to get good muscle activation and strengthening. Another good use of pelvic floor muscle relaxation is birth. I can't tell you how many people come into my office and they don't have good use of that muscle, those muscles. Then here you are trying to push down against essentially a closed door, or a door that's giving kind of a stop signal when you're trying to have a baby. So that can make that very difficult. And then there's so many more functions where we really use, again, good muscle control, both relaxation and contraction. So what are some things you can do about that? Well, first, I love to use a yoga or an exercise ball. You can move the glute tissue out of the way and really get a much better sense of awareness. Remember, these aren't muscles we can see, so it's hard to tell where they are in space without some kind of support or guidance. You can also take a small hand towel, roll it up, and sit on it lengthwise. And again, this is good for both men and women. So once you're increasing the pressure to that area to give some tactile feedback, I want you to make sure that you're sitting in a good position. Don't be slumped back, don't be arched forward. In fact, you can kind of posteriorly and anteriorly or back and forth move your pelvis until you feel the most pressure, good pressure, on those ischial tuberosities, those sit bones, and that perineal area. So now that you're here, just see what you notice. Do you feel like there's something pushing up against that, the ball and the towel, or do you feel like things are really held away? So sometimes just starting off with a couple of deep breaths where your belly expands and you imagine that you're filling a balloon through your whole abdomen and pelvis can help you to increase the sense of sensation in that part of the body. Now, don't push down, don't bear down to make that sensation happen. It's kind of like relaxing your shoulders. Just imagine letting go in that part of the body. So another great tip can actually be visualization. There are many different ways you can visualize this part of the body, but some of my favorites are, imagine that your body is a building and this pelvic floor is the elevator of the building, so it goes up and down. So imagine you're starting off on the 3rd floor and you want to let those muscles soften and lengthen until they come all the way down to the basement. Now, sometimes it can also be hard to feel a muscle, what position the muscle's in if it's already there. Like, is that going down lower? Is it not? So sometimes, like your shoulders say, if you squeeze the pelvic floor just a little bit, if you pinch, squeeze, and lift all those muscles, say 25, 50%, and then focus on letting go, that can give you more of a sense of change, and if you feel a difference. So if you start off and go, I can't really tell if I'm lengthening or not, do a little bit of a contraction and then let the muscles come down and see what you feel. Is there a difference? Does that feel heavier? Does that feel warmer? What do you notice? Another great tip is, some people even say that there's sort of a string connecting your shoulders and your pelvic floor. So if you shrug, you may feel through the fascial pulling and the muscle activation that there's actually a lifting of your pelvic floor. So if you notice you're doing this a lot, or if you're even doing this right now, focus on letting that come down as well. So kind of start from your head down into that pelvis once you're in that good position. There are so many great resources and information out there, but I hope this was helpful to get you start thinking about pelvic floor muscle relaxation and how important it is for our muscle function.